Bror Fredrik coming at you with another episode of Hey Bror Fredrik. In this episode, a viewer, Matt from Montana, says, "Hey Bror Fredrik, what is the most you've ever won in Las Vegas?" And I'm here at the Bellagio because the story happened at the Bellagio to tell you all about it. And we're going to take a drive up the strip and I'll tell you how I won $150,000. Kinda. Right after this. So we're leaving the Bellagio now. I'm gonna make this right, cruise down the strip a little bit, and tell you a little story. So this happened a couple of years ago. I was playing craps at the Bellagio. It was a Saturday night, and it was a $25 table. And the table wasn't doing all that good, but stuck around. Never know what happens, because I was waiting to get the dice. Because I love to shoot dice. I'm a bit of a dice setter. Some of the properties, and, you know, they don't actually believe in it, but they know there's a little something to it. So they're very, they get a little iffy around dice setters. They want you to hit the back wall. They want you to splatter the dice all over the place and randomize them as much as possible. But the goal of a dice setter is to land them softly so they barely touch the wall and come off in a controlled fashion, if you want to know what dice setting actually is. That's what I try to do when I play. So it's a quarter table, $25. The dice finally come to me. And I placed my $25 bet on the pass line because I'm the shooter. Take my dice, set them, do my little ritual, launch them in the air, nice and soft, hit the back wall, and they come to rest on 6-6, which is called boxcars. Now, I lose my $25 because when you throw 6-6 on the very first roll as a new shooter or on a new point, you lose your bet, and you have to put another bet up in order to continue to shoot. So I lose $25. From the other end of the table, I hear, "Hey," not "Hey Bror Fredrik," but I hear, "Hey, you think you could do that again?" So I look up, and it is a famous world-class boxer with his entourage at the other end of the table. Didn't notice him to begin with. Don't care. You know, everyone's equal at the craps table. You know, everyone's money's up, you know, just like mine. You know, I'm not, you know, overly impressed by people, but I know who he is. So I see him, I see his entourage, and you can speculate in the comments as to who this person was if you're familiar with relatively recent Las Vegas history. But I'm not gonna expose that person. But I'll let you guess, but I won't answer. So this guy, he says, "Hey, can you do that again?" So in a snarky fashion, because I just lost $25, I said, "Well, put your money up and we'll find out." So he taps one of his entourage and they go into a paper bag and they pull out a wad of cash. And the game kind of grinds to a halt because everyone's, you know, fawning over his bag of cash and all this other stuff. And me, I'm thinking, you know, I just want to get on with the game. I want to make some money here. And they count out $5,000. And they put it on the table, and then they, of course, the boxman and the pit boss, they all have to count it out, and it wasn't in chips, it was in cash, so they have to announce money plays. That's signifying that there's actually going to be cash used on the table to bet and not chips. So they say money plays. So I'm like, no shit. So he puts it all on 12. A one-shot bet on 6-6 coming out for the second time. So I'm like, you know, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? I decided the ego got the better of me, and I said, screw it. You know, I set my dice for craps numbers, which is 6-6, 12 boxcars, 1 and 2, and 1-1, and those are very rare and kind of hard numbers to get because there's not a lot of combinations in which you can get them. So I set it for that. So I loft the dice in the air. They're tumbling just perfectly. They land an inch from the wall. They kiss the wall like this and fall. What do you think it is? 6-6. So I did it. I hit it. Now, crowd goes wild. Table goes wild. The whole place is absolutely freaking bonkers because he had $5,000 on a one-time bet on 6-6. That pays 35 to 1. Now, the true odds of that happening are 36 to 1. But the casino takes their vig on that hit, so it's 35 to 1. So he got paid $150,000. $150,000 for that one-time hit, which the one 5,000 was his and $145,000 in profit. So everyone's going ape shit. Oh my God, oh, you did it, you did it. Meanwhile, excuse me, I lost another $25 in the act of getting him his $150,000. So it takes forever. They finally are counting it out. They have to call him off the table. They're going to pay him in chips, not cash, the whole bit. So they finally got this whole situation sorted out with this $150,000 that I won for him. That's why I said kind at the beginning. And so now it's settled down. I'm already into a roll. So I made a point, which is, I hit a number that, was on a come out roll. If you don't know craps, you can look it up, Google it or whatever. Shout out Las Vegas sign. I think we're going to turn right after this. And he looks up at me. He waits till, I'm kind of settled in. I'm not shooting at that point. And he throws to me. What do you think he threw to me as a tip for winning him $145,000? He throws me a green $25 chip. Doesn't come over, doesn't shake my hand, nothing. He gives me one green $25 chip for making him $145,000. Now I get the fact that it took his balls to put the $5,000 up there, but trust me, for this guy, $5,000 is nothing. But he gave me $25 and he threw it across the table. So what I did was I looked at it because it already cost me $50 to make him that money. I threw it back. That's exactly what happened. Truth. So that is my story, how I won $150,000 playing craps at the Bellagio. Kinda. If you want to know my largest win ever on craps at a casino, this is a bonus story. One night at 3 o'clock in the morning, I decided to cruise on over to the Mirage. And it was crickets in there. There was basically nobody in there. So I was looking for a craps game, and there was nobody. But there was people, there was dealers there. So I see someone there in a sweatshirt, kind of hanging out, and, I think it was, again, a Saturday night, so, I had a sport coat on and everything. That's what we did then. Not so much anymore. And this guy's in a sweatshirt and sweatpants and whatever, and he's looking for a game too. So I look at him, he looks at me, he says, "Hey, you want to shoot a little, kill some time?" I'm like, "Sure." So who is this guy? This is Ray from Everyone Loves Ray. So he was having his bout of insomnia. I was having my bout of the night's not over yet. So we decided to throw some dice. So he's at one end, I'm at the other. Turns out Ray's a bit of a dice setter too. So I'm like, this should be fun. We're just killing time. But they make it a $25 table. So, okay, it's a $25 table, all's good. So we start out at $25. shit, he started first. He must have made about 5 or 6, 7, 8 passes, and I made about 5 or 6 or 7, 8 passes over the course of about an hour and a half. And he was betting a little larger than me. He could afford it. I was keeping it in the $25 pass, full odds, and probably $60 to $75 bets, and I was making come bets and everything, full odds, the whole bit. But in about an hour or so, plus or minus, he and I scored big because cumulatively we made about at least 15 passes, and it was just a thing of beauty. And on that night, in 1 hour, with Ray Romano, I managed to make $9,800 and walk out the door. So that is the most I've won playing craps at the Mirage. So I appreciate you sticking around for this story. If you have any other suggestions for, hey, Bror Fredrik, if you want a topic for the next episode, drop that in the comments below. If it makes for good content, I will make that happen. Hey, Bror Fredrik is going to be a weekly thing, maybe even bi-weekly. So we'll see how that goes. So again, drop it in the comments. And no, I'm not going to tell you who that boxer was, but you can figure it out. Recent, famous boxer. Go for it. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.